Hello everybody and welcome back to SkySaga Alpha 8! We are here for a brand new series, and this is a series that I'm going to hopefully be doing every single Sunday from now until the end of Alpha 8, and that is Blueprint Studio building. So in this series I really want to focus on getting some blueprint builds done, and I want to just put lots and lots of blueprints out there. I have a few ideas for my own blueprints, but I also want you guys to give me ideas for what blueprints you want to see. Anything you would like me to build so that you can go through and just easily add that to your island, please let me know either in the comments below or in the forum, because I will be making a forum post about the fact that I'm doing all of this good stuff. So yeah, today we're going to be starting with just two builds, I think. So one is going to be an ongoing thing that I do called supersize this, where today we're actually going to be taking a chest, a small chest, not the chests that are behind me, one of the small wooden chests, and we're going to be upscaling that to 20 by 20, sorry, not 20 by 20, 10 by 10 by 10 blocks. And I think that's going to look really cool. I have done one in the past in a previous alpha, but there are new things in the game now, so we can probably make this look just that little bit better than what I had it in the last one. And then the other thing we're going to be doing today is we're going to be building a knot shop. Now, this is another thing that I built, but this one I built a very, very long time ago. I built this back all the way back in Alpha 3. I think it was really awesome. The reason I built it doesn't quite exist anymore, but I still think it's a really cool design. So I want to kind of put that into a blueprint so that you guys can have that and see it and use it if you really want to. So anyway, first up we are going to be building the giant wood chest. So obviously I'm going to have to turn around, grab some wood out, and all of that good stuff, and then we're going to get moving on with this. So yeah, let's get a cracking on that. I think what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making it out of ground wood and iron for the moment. I could come back here eventually and do a different version that uses a different metal or a different wood or whatever. But for now, just to keep this simple and basic, we're going to be doing it like that. Now, the other thing I will say is that you guys are going to see me put down a whole bunch of buildings and stuff in this series, and wherever possible, I'm not going to fill them with decor items. And that's a personal thing. That is a kind of allowing somebody to take the basic structure and kit it out how they want it. Whereas if I put too many decor items into the building, you kind of like push it down, put a whole bunch of stuff into the Blueprint Studio machine thing, and then you've got a build done. And while that's kind of cool and all, I would love to see what you guys do with the builds that I create. So I'm going to leave them open-ended and let you guys personalize them and kind of make them your own, because I think that's a better way to use the studio than anything else. Of course, there will be some times where I'm building like round things or whatever, and there are going to need to be decor items in that to make the thing look correct, but I'm never going to be like kitting something out with decor items, because yeah, I think it's restrictive on you, and yeah, you just have a lot more freedom to customize and personalize a design if there's nothing inside it, and you can just go ahead and do what you want to do. So anyway, that's kind of my little rant for this episode. We're going to start off by crafting a whole bunch of iron blocks, because we're going to need a lot of those. Now, another thing I might actually do as well is, while we're here, I'm going to grab out some wood, and I'm actually going to put down a chest so that we've got a little bit of a reference guide, because of course that is always going to be helpful, having a little reference. I also have reference from Alpha 4, where I actually built this thing on the SheepBall home island, which is another thing that is going to be coming back again, guys. I'm going to be starting to do the SheepBall Island, but it's not going to be part of my main build series. It's actually going to be part of its own thing, where I do community stuff and community mini games and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of what SheepBall was designed for, I guess. So anyway, yeah, we're going to place this guy down. We're not going to put anything in it, because this is just a reference thing. So I'm going to throw that down, I think, on top of a block of wood, just so we've got a little bit more of an idea of where this thing is going to go. So yeah, here we go. This is a chest, right? So as you can see, we've got kind of iron that comes out the front, up, and then it merges in at the top. So there we go. I'm actually flying. It does kind of merge in a little bit at the top here, so it's not as thick. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm probably just going to merge that into the top layer of the wood. We've also got some recess pieces, so we've got a recess in under here. We've got a recess across through the top. Got hinges at the back, recesses in here, and a recess in the top side, and then we've got some handles as well that are going on. So I think what we're going to have to do is to do this in a 10 by 10 by 10. We're going to have to make the base level, because there's going to be a square base in the bottom of this thing. That's going to have to be 8 by 8, because then we've got, you know, these guys at the front. That's a block space. The handles on the sides are a block space. That kind of cuts us down to 8 by 8 for a build platform. But yeah, other than that, I think that's all we need to kind of look at and take in on this thing for now. So I've got a whole bunch of blocks down. So we're going to start placing a few of these down. I'm not going to kind of do this with you guys all on camera. I'm going to kind of do a little like jump cuts type thing, I think. And we're going to, yeah, build up slowly and get this thing to full-on awesomeness. Alright, so the base is down. Now, the base, I've actually kind of changed my mind a little bit on how all of this stuff goes together. So if we actually have a look at the chest, you can see that the handles are just outside the actual build limit to the block, which means that I'm going to add them outside of the 10 by 10 by 10, which means that, yeah, this base plate is now, like, this wooden ground level is 8 blocks this way and 10 blocks this way. So yeah, there's going to be a few things like that, because sometimes SkySaga things don't quite fit inside a single block. So that means that when I'm trying to equate a single block to 10 by 10 by 10, sometimes some things are going to kind of jump outside of that, and some things are going to end up a little bit bigger than they probably should be, mostly just because I want to add those details in, but trying to do that in basically what I have is a 10 pixel range. Yeah, trying to do that in a 10 pixel range is a little bit interesting. So yeah, some of these things do kind of get lost in the wash, and some of them do get kind of made a little bit bigger just for the purposes of actually making this thing look correct and kind of doing the right thing. So yeah, that's the base plate down anyway. And so far, this build is not doing too badly. It's a little costly. The submission price is a little high, but I'm assuming that once I actually get rid of the chest over in the corner here, things are going to go back down. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that guy and see what happens. Okay, the cost is actually more associated with this stuff than anything else. But the blueprint has not updated correctly. It's not dropping back to that. I may have to leave and come back again so that it actually does what it's supposed to do. Because right now it is sitting at way too wide. So let's leave, come back, and I'll do a bit of work, and I'll show you guys once the kind of front is on the building. Alright, so the front is now on. So if I turn around, or if I move away from the minimap so you can't quite see what's going on, and then turn around, bam! We have ourselves a relatively chest-looking thing. Now, I did also manage to get the Blueprint Studio to reset, and as you can see, actually that's not Blueprint Studio, that is Blueprint Analyzer. So yeah, 10 by 10 by 10. So we're actually in the right range and in the right size, which I think is really cool. This thing is coming along quite well. I've got my kind of like recess pieces in the front. I've got a very big lock. I've got a recess piece up through the side. Got nothing in the sides yet. That's all yet to be done. But we also need to put a back on this thing. And for me, the submission price is going up quite considerably, and the current retail price has gone up quite considerably. I think that's because of the metal blocks. I think the more metal blocks they add to this build, the more expensive the thing is going to get, which is a bit of a shame, because in this series of making things big, I'm going to be using a lot of metal blocks, and that's just going to happen because a lot of these items have metal in them. So see, stuff like that would all have to be done in metal blocks, and like the banding on the saw, and the saw would have to be done in metal blocks, and like all of that stuff. Pretty much, I don't think there is a decor item anymore that doesn't have metal blocks in it, or a recreation would not have metal blocks in it. So unfortunately, these are going to probably be a little bit too expensive for most people to just kind of slap down and use. But anyway, I'm going to keep doing these because I think they're going to be really quite cool, especially once they're all done and dusted. But yeah, so here we go. This thing is getting pretty close, actually. I mean, there's not a whole lot left to be perfectly honest, because the shape is now all well defined. All I need to do is redo the same kind of shape and curve up in the back here, and there's a slight difference to the back, because the back there's a different sized recess panel, at the back here, and there's also lock hinges at the back too. But that's okay. We've got most of this done now. Like I'm pretty happy with how this is going. So anyway, I'm going to keep going. Add on the back here, then we can talk about the sides and how all those are going to go down. And yeah, then finally we'll put some handles on it and publish this thing up. Okay, so things are coming along, but I've actually found just a little error. Now, basically, I am running, for this particular chest build, I am actually running off of an old design. So like I said, I kind of did this one before in Alpha 4, and I'm running from that old design, and I've spotted a pretty key difference between the old design and this design. Now, the old design, I actually had a 10 by 10 wooden floor, which meant that the actual space inside the chest was just that little bit bigger, and it also meant that the kind of flat along the top of the chest was bigger as well. And looking at that design versus this design, I actually kind of prefer that design, which means this thing is going to have to be pushed out to a 12 by 12 area, which is not what I wanted it to be, but I think it's going to look a whole lot better. Like, this just looks too angular and pointed. It needs more flat space along the top. So yeah, I'm now going to knock out all of the back and move that out by 2 blocks, and then we'll be good to go. So yeah, that's just wanted to kind of pull you guys in and talk to you about that, because while I am trying to make this a 10 by 10, it's just going to have to be however I can get it to fit, basically, and however I can get it to actually work inside the space that we have here. So yeah, that's what's going to happen now, and I'm going to rip some of this stuff down, and we'll try again. Alright, so more quick progress here on the build. So we're now going to back on this thing, so let's go around and have a quick look at that. So we've got the hinges in place, and we've got a nice little recess in here. So actually in the build itself, we've got this kind of little shelf here, which I'm probably going to end up sitting some of my more important chests on. And then actually the one thing I did want to do in here as well was actually knock out a little space for a doorway. So that's going to be the doorway going in, and I think we're even just going to cover this up along here, because it's going to look a lot nicer. So as a user or as a person putting this build down, you can actually come along here, jump up into the chest, and you'll actually have room in here for a whole bunch of stuff. So as you can probably see, I've moved that back wall out now, so our current size is 10 by 10 by 12, which I don't think is too bad. I think it's going to work nicer, and the actual chest shape looks a whole lot better when you add that stuff in. So now I'm going to add the sides in, add a little recess. So there's a little recess at the top here. And this main body panel is flat. We're going to add on the sides, and then I'm probably going to be done and actually publish this thing. Now, it is quite expensive right now. I honestly think that's to do with the metal blocks. It's also going to cost me a fair amount to actually publish this thing, but that's okay. I am just going to have to power level my settler to be able to afford to do all of this. So yeah, anyway, that is going pretty well. Like I said, I'll show you guys once we've got some sides on and everything is going beautifully. Ta-da! We have a chest. It is now completely finished. So we have the sides on and the nice little indented pieces. And just take a look at this thing. If we kind of get back a little bit and just fly around the outside, I think this has come out as a pretty nice looking chest. So we've got some little handles on the sides here just to kind of mimic the chest. And we've also got a little lock, and then if we go inside, this thing is actually not too bad, and there is a fair amount of room in here to place down chests. So you can get 4 double chests wide along here, and you've got as much room as you need to kind of stock the walls full of chests. And then of course there is some space up here, which I'm probably going to be using because I'm going to be putting this down myself. I'm probably going to be using this space to hold all of my interesting questing items. So like 1 chest for each biome, and then I might even have some chests along the floor which contain like food and other special and impressive items. Those are the words I was going for. But yeah, so that's it. That is the chest done and dusted. Now I am going to go through and validate this. Oh my god, it's going to cost me 7 knots to put 7 settler points to put this through. Oh, alright. Anyway, I'm going to do that because I love this thing, and yeah, I want to put it on my own home island. So yeah, we're gonna put that down. Turns out that the making stuff bigger series is probably gonna cost me a whole bunch of settler points. Oh well, we're just gonna have to explore for recipes, I guess. But yeah, so that is it. That is going really, really well. So let's get this one set up. I'll place it down on my home island, and then we're gonna come back here and we're gonna build a nut shop. Okay, so here we are in a brand new blueprint studio. Now, like I said before, we're going to be building a knot shop in this one, and basically, from now on, I kind of want to do this as a bit of an open slather, like, request something to be built from me type thing. So, personally, this is my own request to myself to build this thing again, because I loved it. I loved it a lot when I originally built it, all the way back in Alpha 3, and I haven't ever had a cause to go back and build it again, but that's what we're going to be doing right now. And then, yeah, next week, I really want you guys to, like, tell me what you want to see. I do have a few other little things in mind, like little kind of beginners towers and beginners houses and stuff like that. But yeah, I really want to know what you guys want to see me build, because I have access to this amazing suite of stuff, so I might as well put it to good use. And that's kind of really what the series is all about, is putting all of these new awesome tech tools and things to use, and actually making the most of the fact that we have the Blueprint Studio around and available. Having said all that, I know, I just know right now that this blueprint is going to be very expensive. It's probably going to be prohibitively expensive, but this one's just for me, I feel. And I love this build, so hopefully you guys will love this build as well. Anyway, I'm going to craft up a whole bunch of metal blocks, because this one also uses some metal blocks, and we'll get cracking on the build. Alright, so here we are. We are now kind of just starting to map out one tiny little corner of the knot. So obviously I'm going to be looking at trying to recreate this thing up here as a flat top for this build. So this is going to be a very expensive build again, because it's going to involve a lot of metal blocks to get this knot to look just right. But then we come in under here. It's supposed to be kind of like a rooftop type thing. Now, I'm not sure if I've got my support pillars in the right spots or anything yet. But yeah, this is one corner, basically, of that knot. So we've got this piece here that's going to come off down over this way, and then that piece there that goes off up this way. But now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to fill in the middle section, because I have a better idea of how big the middle section is than I do of actually how big the rest of the build is. Because I'm only running off reference photos right now, because like I said, I have built this one before, but it was a very, very long time ago, and I wasn't even recording back in the days when I actually put this one together for the very first time. So anyway, I'm going to try now and recreate the top just a little bit more, probably pull you guys back in when a little bit more progress has been made. And there it is, one knot ready and waiting to go. So let's just have a quick look on the minimap, because I think this thing looks kind of awesome on the minimap actually, and I can't. Oh wow, that's as far as the minimap will scroll in. But yeah, so you can actually just kind of see in the corners the actual like transition point from top to bottom, which I think is really cool. And yeah, that's kind of coming along really well. These pillars that I placed down were just in all over the place. They're just in the wrong spot, totally. But yeah, now I'm going to put some walls on this and make it actually look a little bit more like an actual building. But the big problem here is, because so many gold blocks have gone into this, this thing is just way, way too expensive. It is 8 settler points to submit, and it is 5,000 knots to buy. So basically, I don't think I'm going to be releasing this one unless you guys really, really want it. I think this is just going to sit in my Blueprint Studios forever and not go anywhere, because yeah, that submission price is ridiculous. That actual price for this build is ridiculous. So yeah, I think this one is just going to kind of sit here and not do anything. If you guys want it, I will submit it. But yeah, just let me know in the comments, because personally, I don't feel like this thing is actually worth submitting right now. And I do want to finish it up though. It is going to sit in my Blueprint Studios, not finished. Oh, it's going to sit in the Blueprint Studio. I'm going to have it finished and sitting in the Blueprint Studio. But I'm not going to publish it at this point in time, I don't think. So anyway, that is, yeah, kind of where this is going. I'm going to put some walls on, put a floor in it now, this is all just going to keep hiking that price up and up and up and up and up. Despite how cool this thing looks, it's really, really expensive. Here it is, one knot shop. So not only have I put the walls on now, we've got the nice knot at the top still. I carved a hole in here to give a little bit of sun lighting down into the build. And then if we actually come around and have a look inside, ta-da! We've actually got a floor in here as well. So this is actually a little bit more cramped than I was originally intending. Just because I actually kind of built this a little too low. It probably should be up one block higher maybe. But at the same time, it doesn't really matter all that much because I don't think I'm going to publish this. Having a look at the current submission price, it is 11 settler points and it is a 6,000 knot retail price. Just wow. Obviously, I do have enough settler points to actually submit this build. And part of me is kind of tempted to, but at the same time, that is very, very expensive. And it's going to take a very, very long time to craft up collect up and craft up all of the materials that are needed to make this thing. I mean, originally, when I built this thing all the way back in Alpha 3, it did take a long time to do that as well, and that was part of the reason that I did this, was to kind of show off that I knew where to get. It was just called gold back then. It wasn't called sun iron, but it was, yeah, basically to show off the fact that I had a lot of gold to my name, and also just because I like the knots. The knots look really cool. And yeah, so that is it. This is this building done and dusted. Like I said, I'm probably not going to make this one public unless you guys really, really want me to. So if you do, make sure to leave a comment either here or on the forums, or just let me know. Flick me a PM or talk to me in-game and say, hey, I really want one of those shops. Make that public for me. And we'll see what we can do. Anyway, I think that is going to be it for this episode. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that one. Please let me know if you've got anything you would like me to build here in the Blueprint Studio for next week. Just leave me a comment and I will definitely get a chance to do that next week. Or I'll, pick the best ones and we'll have a bit of fun going through and doing this. I might even end up doing something where if you guys give me enough submissions, I'll build a couple of submissions in a week and then I'll get you guys to vote on which ones actually get put into the shop and which ones don't get put into the shop. Anyway, like I said, that is it for this week. Hope you guys have enjoyed that, and I will see you in the next episode.